Welcome back to Boilers and Beyond. I'm Jordan Jones. Purdue took care of business over the past week, getting a couple of wins, scoring 90 points in the process, and each of them 90-81 win over Iowa, a 90-72 win over Southern Cal. We will look back on the week that was, talk about some of the takeaways behind some excellent play from Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn, talk about Caleb Furst making Purdue history, along with plenty of other stuff before we turn the page and look ahead to a critical 2-week stretch that Purdue is about to embark on. We've got a really fun Q&A section as well. Thank you to those of you who sent in questions on Twitter. I'm really looking forward to diving into some of these. If you don't, be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. There's a lot to talk about. This Big Ten race is exciting. We are in the heart of college basketball season here. We're recording this during the Super Bowl, and that means that college basketball kind of takes over center stage here in the sporting world after this game ends. So, a really exciting time. Be sure to follow on Twitter. You can always send in questions for the show on Twitter at Boilers Beyond. You can email the show, boilersandbeyondpod@gmail.com. And be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. But Purdue gets a couple of wins this week, improving to 11-2 in Big Ten play. Purdue improves to 19-5 overall. Purdue is still playing really good basketball, putting up 90 points in the process this week. We said, coming into this week on last week's show, we talked about the fact that this was a week where Purdue just needed to take care of business. Iowa, Southern Cal, neither of those teams are NCAA tournament teams. Neither of them are particularly strong opponents. And it turned out that Purdue plays Iowa, is Owen Freeman's out for the season. Purdue plays USC with no Desmond Claude. USC's leading scorer misses the game. It just echoed the importance of taking care of business when you're a Purdue team that is starting to get everyone's best swing. Purdue really is becoming that team that, teams are looking ahead to playing. And Purdue did a great job this week of just taking care of business, even if the first half at Iowa was a little bit up and down. Braden Smith was just tremendous, and you saw the duality of what he can do. In that Iowa game, Purdue needed someone to score. It was another game where Trey Kaufman-Renn got into some early foul trouble, and we'll talk about that more here momentarily. But when Trey Kaufman-Renn's off the floor, and this is something we talked about last week too, Purdue loses the threat of dumping the ball inside and going to get a bucket. Purdue's offense got bogged down a bit in that Iowa game. And it came when Raleigh Burgess was on the floor. And, there were a few things with Braden Smith getting trapped that Matt Painter in real time seemed to, indicate that Raleigh Burgess wasn't doing something properly. But Purdue's offense got bogged down. It wasn't doing much. Iowa got up by 7 maybe in that first half. And then Braden Smith kind of put the team on his back, drills a pull-up to send it to halftime tied. And when that game was tied at halftime, you kind of felt like Purdue had it won. You felt like Purdue was going to be all right. Unless Trey Kaufman-Renn got into foul trouble in the second half, which he didn't, you felt like it was going to be pretty difficult for Iowa to beat Purdue. But Braden Smith came out of the locker room and just threw haymakers left and right at Iowa. He's pulling up from three at he hit 5 threes in that game, I think. Goes 5 for 7 from 3, 11 of 15 from the floor, 31 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, just these are not normal numbers. This is video game stuff. And this is what Braden Smith is just capable of doing. And then in the Southern Cal game, a game where Purdue's having no problem scoring. Purdue puts up 90 points despite shooting 23% from 3, despite Braden Smith just going 4 for 11 from the floor. Purdue still puts up 90 points. Purdue had no problem scoring. But Braden Smith dishes out 13 assists. In the first half of that game, he was masterful. 9 assists in the first half of a game. These are things you don't see in college basketball. This stuff doesn't happen. Look across the country. How many other guys are putting up double-digit assist games on the regular? It's not super common. Think about how many guys in your time watching Purdue basketball have regularly put up double-digit assists, even in your time watching Big Ten basketball. It's not all that common. This is unbelievable stuff. And, you know, the National Player of the Year conversation is what it is. There's plenty of award stuff to kind of dive into here. But, you know, whether Braden Smith is in that conversation or not, you know, Johnny Broome and Cooper Flagg are tremendous players. You can't go wrong there. But Braden Smith has clearly cemented himself as a first-team All-American guy. He is, in my mind, cemented himself as Big Ten Player of the Year. And I think Trey Kaufman-Renn is right behind him. What Purdue has here is really, really strong because it's another great week for Trey Kaufman-Renn. And I'm not... We know what's gone on with the conversation about him being left off of the Karl Malone and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, like top 10 finalists lists. And I know there's a process where they can get re-added to that when they cut it from 10 to 5, because that's what happened with Braden Smith for the point guard award last year. But, you know, I don't know if you consider Trey Kaufman-Renn a power forward or a center. If it was 20 years ago, he's clearly a power forward. In today's game, I don't know. But what I do know is, you know, this is one of the best players in the country, regardless of position. At the, you know, KenPom Player of the Year metric that he does, he's in the top 10. This isn't something that is all that, you know, is all that controversial. It's insane that he was left off of those watch lists. It doesn't make any sense, but I mean, it is what it is, right? He's 6th in KenPom's Player of the Year metric right now. Braden Smith is 3rd. Trey Kaufman-Renn, again, when he is on the floor, he's just so dominant. This week, he goes 10 for 18 against Iowa. He goes 8 for 12 against Southern Cal. Pulls down 10 rebounds against USC. Pulls down 7 against Iowa. 25 and 24 points. I mean, this is dominant stuff. He is doing it in a way that not many Purdue big men have. He's more nimble. He's more crafty in his ability to get to spots. He's really gotten better at that. He had that play in the first half where he, you know, kind of splits. He's got 3 guys hovering around him, and he gets a dribble to the left and kind of pivots back and throws one almost sideways up, and it goes in. He's started knocking down these jump shots from like 15 feet. He's got the little floater. He can score in a variety of ways. He hit one with his left hand at Iowa. He's been great. He has just been fantastic. A clear-cut first-team All-Big Ten guy, a clear-cut All-American candidate. Whether that's first team or not, I don't know. But you're seeing a truly special tandem emerge there. This is pretty nuts. This is Purdue. I don't want to say picking up where it left off, because it wasn't operating this smoothly at the start of the year. But, I mean, my goodness, this is dominant stuff from those two. This really is. And when you factor in Fletcher Lawyer as a third scorer on this team who, you know, is very quietly scoring like 14 points a game. That's kind of the crazy thing here, is that he's scoring... Yeah, he's scoring like 14 points a game for you right now. I mean, this is crazy. This is an elite trio that Purdue has. It's really something. Purdue's in wonderful shape here. It was Purdue's offense, really. You just see the best of it. At Iowa, Purdue generated so many good looks. And, of course, it always helps when you go 12 of 25 for 3. It always helps when you're playing Iowa and a lot of those shots aren't guarded. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Iowa is a particularly stout defense. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Iowa had anything resembling size in the front court to throw at Purdue's big guys, but Purdue took advantage, and Purdue turned in a really, really nice offensive performance. Iowa's a team that really wants to pressure you and turn you over, and as you look at Purdue, like 3 of those turnovers came in the one spell when Braden Smith got trapped like 3 possessions in a row. It had one that was a travel on kind of an awkward pass that put Fletcher Lawyer in a bad spot. Purdue has 11 turnovers. You can live with that against Iowa, especially when you shoot as well as Purdue did. Against USC, again, Purdue shoots 23% from 3. Purdue misses 8 free throws out of 26, which isn't a great percentage. But Purdue was great on the offensive glass. Trey Kaufman-Renn gets 7 offensive rebounds. He was shot out of a cannon. I don't know. He'd probably tell you he doesn't matter about those watch lists and stuff, but it's something that clearly, got him fired up because that was just a great performance. This was Purdue's offense operating at a great level. Purdue continues to get great looks out of those out-of-bounds plays. Purdue's doing all of this where the offense in the KenPom world is 7th in the country right now. Purdue's doing that. It's shooting 37.5% from 3 on the season, but in conference play, that's down to 35%, which is still good, but it's not great. Purdue's doing this without being an elite 3-point shooting team. And I remember early on this year, in that game against Corpus Christi to open the year, it felt like every shot Purdue was taking was a 3 if it wasn't going to Trey Kaufman-Renn. The vibes have really turned. Purdue's become an elite 2-point shooting team. Purdue's shooting 57% from 2, 59% from 2 in Big Ten play. Purdue's really doing a nice job at getting good looks from inside the arc and converting on those. And that's a testament to Braden Smith, to Trey Kaufman-Renn, to Caleb Furst, who, this week Caleb Furst becomes the winningest player in Purdue history. And this is kind of becoming almost a bit now because it's like every senior is becoming the winningest player in Purdue history. I know the guys last year did it. I'm trying to remember if that Travion Williams group did or not. I'm trying to remember if the Isaac Haas group did or not. But a lot of these guys are becoming the winningest players in Purdue history. And it stands to reason that there's a pretty good shot that next year's seniors could beat out what Caleb Furst did. But it comes off of a week where Caleb Furst really shows you the value he's brought to this team. He has 10 points, 9 rebounds at Iowa on just 3 shots from the field. He goes 6 for 10 from the line. You'd love that to be 1 or 2 better. But he defended really well in a game where it didn't line up for him to defend super well. Some tough matchups there with what Iowa has in terms of lack of size, but some quickness. How much Iowa likes to run around on offense. Caleb Furst more than held his own there. And then he comes home, 9 points, 10 rebounds against USC, 4 for 4 from the field. Again, the free throws aren't great, but it's just kind of a quintessential week of him being everywhere on defense, of him pulling down rebounds, of him giving you everything you could want. He's not taking bad shots. He's converting on a pretty high clip at the ones he gets kind of handed to him. It's a great, I don't want to dive into the great story too much, but it's a really nice ending for a guy who could have easily moved on, could have easily, in this era transferred, or could have easily gotten discouraged when, let's face it, he didn't play that much relative to what you would have thought based on his recruiting rankings during his first 3 seasons. This guy was a fringe top 50 recruit who hasn't played a whole lot in his first 3 years. Now this year, he's getting that opportunity, and you have to give him a lot of credit because he's making the most of it. This was a really quintessential week for him, and it results with him being the winningest player in Purdue history. This was not a great week for Purdue's defense. I did want to at least point that out to be fair here. Iowa presents challenges. Iowa went super small, something that I don't know that Purdue can really match up with. I mean, when Camden Heidi's out there, sure, Trey Kaufman-Renn getting in foul trouble made things weird, but Iowa went super small. Iowa shot 33s. It made 11 of them, which you'll probably live with. Josh Dix is a really good player, man. You've got Josh Dix, you have Peyton Sanford. Those two combined for 50 of the 81. Those guys are tough. They're tough covers. Dix is really, really gifted scorer, man. He's a good player. He's going to have a lot of options after this season. Sanford is too. He's tough. He's been around forever, but he's a really good player. Those two combine, math on the fly isn't my thing, but 8 of 19 from 3, 19 of 33 from the field. So, they took over half Iowa's shots. You'll live there. But, USC, the Wesley Yates kid really gets going. Again, but at the end of the game, he needed 22 shots to get 30, and he only makes 2 threes. I think you're okay there. Someone has to score. The offensive rebounds USC got were a little concerning, but man, a couple of those were balls that if they just go Purdue's way, this thing's a 30-point blowout. So I don't want to overreact to it. It's going to be interesting to see Purdue moving forward on the defensive end. But, this was a good week. This was a week that wins you Big Ten titles. It is not easy to go on the road and win. It's not easy to come home, play. You know what you've got ahead of you. You've got big, big games ahead of you. You get a bottom feeder is a bit harsh for USC. I don't know. These West Coast teams we'll see about UCLA, but the other three have just not had good years. And it makes you wonder how they are going to have good years in this. But you've got a low level relative to the Big Ten opponent coming in. It is not one you have any sort of historic, significance with. Like, it's not like Illinois is coming over in a down year for Illinois. It's not like if you're playing Ohio State and they come over in a down year. This is just a random opponent. And Purdue came out really focused, shot out of a cannon, played really well. You've got to be pleased with that. I wanted to get into Q&A. We've got a couple of really good ones here. Why isn't Matt Painter being mentioned in National Coach of the Year conversations? I think it just has to do, and maybe he is a little bit, I saw Field of 68 had a video on YouTube talking about Matt Painter as a National Coach of the Year guy. He's getting some credit there. It gets hard when you are someone who is in this spot regularly. And I know there is, a faction of a group of folks who like to ignore that. But Purdue has become one of the most consistently strong programs in America. Yes, I know Purdue's only made one Final Four, but look at everything else Purdue has done. Purdue is lined up here to be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament yet again. It has been, was 2016 a 4 or 5 seed? I mean, you're going back to then, to that 2015 8-9 seed game team, since Purdue hasn't been a 4 seed, I think. I can't remember what 2016 was now, but this has been a remarkably consistent team. Purdue's had a double bye in the Big Ten tournament every year except one since 2015, I think. And that was the COVID year when the tournament didn't get played. This has been unbelievable. And people are just getting used to seeing Purdue at the top. And when you are there, it's hard to get the National Coach of the Year love. It goes to the guys, typically, who seem to overachieve, who come out of nowhere and have a good year. And that's fine. I mean, people can vote on this however they want to vote on it. But we're to the point where it's impossible to deny that Matt Painter is one of the best coaches in America. That conversation isn't that much of a conversation. It's a fact at this point. And I think that probably says a little more than it would if he wins a Coach of the Year award. Has Matt Painter's views of the mid-range shot evolved? It seems that on the 21-22 team, it was either a three-point shot, a layup, or a dunk, and the mid-range shot was a relative rarity. I think in basketball over the last few years, we've seen a little bit of the resurgence of the mid-range shot. Not a ton. The analytics are still going to tell you that the threes and the shots around the basket are going to be your most efficient way to score, but I think maybe teams are realizing that if you don't shoot super well from three and you're just missing shots, some points are better than none. So I think you're seeing that come back a little bit. It's kind of gone away from the Golden State Warriors deal, but I think in a little bit too, Purdue's adapting to personnel, and Purdue does this really well. Purdue does not get enough credit for how well it adapts to what it has, because the stuff it's running for Trey Kaufman-Renn is so much different than what it did for Zach Edey, for Travion Williams, for Caleb Swanigan, for Isaac Haas, all these guys. But Purdue's moved to more of a ball screen offense, and it gives Braden Smith a ton of opportunity to shoot from the mid-range when opposing teams are in drop coverage, and he's really good at it. You wouldn't have Braden Smith shooting that much against drop coverage if he wasn't really good at making them, but he is. Fletcher Loyer can shoot from the mid-range, and if we're just kind of comparing that shooter role, Sasha Stefanovic was never that type of a mid-range scorer or a get-to-the-basket guy. Fletcher Loyer's better at that. On that 21-22 team, Brandon Newman, Ethan Morton, Isaiah Thompson, Eric Hunter a little bit, but for the most part, those guys were just three-point shooters for what they did. Purdue has a little bit more of that. Trey Kaufman-Renn has the shoot the ball in his little, float push shots, and he's knocked down a couple of, jump shots from 17, 15 feet. But yeah, I think it's Purdue adapting to its personnel more than anything. It's certainly a lot of that's the ball screen nature of Purdue's offense, but you're not seeing just everyone take twos. Miles Colvin and Camden Heide aren't pulling up from 2-point range because they've never shown the ability to get to those shots. I mean, they're kind of just standalone 3-point shooters. Jakari Harris can get to the rack a little bit, but you've seen CJ Cox in the mid-range a bit, and Matt Painter's talked about how he likes those shots. So that's something that's going to be interesting to follow moving forward. And then one that I knew I'd be getting asked about, you'd mentioned at some point that Miles Colvin's open threes no longer become great shots. What is that threshold, or is it best to let him to continue to try to shoot his way out of it? I tweeted out in the first half on Friday when Miles Colvin was 1 for 5 from 3 that at some point these shots aren't great shots for Purdue. And mixed feedback on that, as I expected. It's not that these are unacceptable shots. And there's a big difference there. It's not that these are just bad shots, but what I don't know that they are great shots. A lot of these shots come early in the shot clock. And right now, as I said, Purdue's shooting almost 60% from inside the arc in Big Ten play. That's really good. You have to shoot threes to keep the defense honest there. Just by shooting more twos, it doesn't always mean you're going to score more. But Purdue's getting a lot of really good stuff on offense right now. Miles Colvin is shooting 29% from three. In Big Ten play, that's 25%. Is he a better shooter than that? Yes. And I hesitate to talk about this too much because it's entirely possible that he snaps out of it. And by the time I talk to you next, he's had a couple of multi-3 games and it looks a lot better. But it's been tough sledding lately. It really has been. And the same goes for Camden Heide. This isn't just a Miles Colvin thing. I mean, Camden Heide's 4 for 25 from 3 in Big Ten play, 16%. These shots aren't becoming great shots for Purdue. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take them. It just, right now, they're not great looks. It's a great look when Fletcher Loyer gets an open 3. It's a great look when Braden Smith has an open 3 or is in the mid-range, or when Trey Kaufman-Renn has the ball in single coverage. Right now, some of these looks aren't great looks. And we'll see, can he shoot out of it? Sure. But like I see the thought that, well, he needs to get to the basket. It'd be great, but we haven't seen him do that. We haven't seen him put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. And that's kind of where you see the limitations start to show. And now give him credit. Miles Colvin played excellent on the defensive end against USC. He had a DNP in the second half against Iowa, and things didn't look right. He came out and played really hard against USC. That was really nice to see. Gets an alley-oop dunk, has another one that tried to reverse and didn't go down. Needs to just keep playing hard on defense. It's one of those things where sometimes if you play hard on defense, the shots going down will follow. And if you're Purdue, you hope that can happen because, yeah, I agree. You'd love for him to snap out of this and add another dimension to your offense here ahead of a crucial run in the Big Ten. This episode is brought to you by me. Yes, me. When I'm not watching sports, or more accurately, talking about them, I'm talking insurance with the people of Indiana. As an agent with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, I want to help you protect what you've worked hard to achieve. From home and auto to life and business insurance, I'm here to help you. Give me a call at 317-846-5861 or email me, jordan.jones@infarmbureau.com, and let's protect you from life's everyday risks. Purdue's about to kick off a really big 2-week stretch here. And a little programming note, I will not be able to record an episode next weekend. So the next time we'll talk will be after that Michigan State game. So Purdue will play 3 games between episodes here, and then we will talk again before Purdue goes to Indiana. But the next 2 weeks for Purdue are probably going to decide whether Purdue wins the Big Ten or not. Purdue goes to Michigan on Tuesday. It comes home to host Wisconsin on Saturday. Then a pair of away games, Tuesday the 18th at Michigan State, Sunday the 23rd at Indiana. These games are going to determine what happens. Right now, KenPom has Purdue winning the Big Ten by a game. It has Purdue going 15-5, the 2 Michigan schools going 14-6. Yeah, that's still accurate. Along with Wisconsin going 14-6. Wisconsin is currently 9-4. So it has Wisconsin finishing strong. It has a favorable schedule. Look at that. These are really big games. Obviously, it starts with Purdue going up to Michigan. Purdue beat the tar out of Michigan a couple weeks ago. I would not anticipate that being the same. That was Michigan getting Mackey arena'd, so to speak. That was the ultimate. A team comes into Mackey Arena and just looks completely shell-shocked. Michigan turned it over like 23 times. I don't know that is going to happen again. I don't know. Michigan turns it over a ton, so maybe it will. But that feels like a big ask. Michigan shot 6 for 29 from 3. Is that going to happen again? I doubt it. Less than 1 point per possession? We'll see. I mean, there was a lot in that game that Purdue did well. I mean, Purdue was just shot out of a cannon. Purdue played so well in that game. Purdue had 14 steals. Just a lot of this stuff would be really hard for Purdue to repeat. At the same time, a lot of the stuff Purdue did, Michigan hasn't changed that much as a team. It still comes down to how you defend those 2 big guys. Michigan has some capable shooters on the team. Namari Burnett is shooting really well from 3 this year. There are some good 3-point shooters. Trey Donaldson's a good 3-point shooter. You got to worry about Danny Wolf, but it's a game Purdue can certainly win. As far as road games go, it's quite winnable. Wisconsin is a team that I don't love. It's a classic Wisconsin team that kind of just punches above its expected weight class. It's winning. It's doing a good job. I just don't when you watch it, it doesn't always impress. But, the Tanji kid's really good. He was a big pickup. Stephen Crowell isn't playing as big of a role as he used to, and that's probably for the best for Wisconsin. I've never thought he is like elite. He's been there forever. And then you go to Michigan State. I mean, again, kind of same deal. I keep thinking that not being able to shoot is going to bite Michigan State at some point, but the longer that it doesn't, maybe it's not. I don't know. Jace Richardson just had an explosion of a game. It looked like Purdue might get some help from Oregon. It did not. It looked like Purdue might get some help from Indiana. It did not. The Big Ten's a 3-team race here. I am not, I think Purdue's the best team in the Big Ten. I really do. But it has to go out and show it here. As you kind of look ahead, Michigan and Michigan State both have some tough games left. If you can go 3-1 in this stretch, I think you feel wonderful about your chances of winning the Big Ten outright. If you can go 2-2, I think it's probably more likely that you're playing for a split, but it's not impossible. 16-4 should do it. I'd be surprised if it didn't. 15-5, we'll see. These are some really big games, though. Purdue has not played a particularly grueling stretch of Big Ten games. It just hasn't. And that's okay. You can only play who's on your schedule. And we know that a lot of these games are going to be pushed towards the end of the season because we must bow to the almighty NFL and not schedule anything interesting. Well, avoid scheduling as many interesting games as possible when it's NFL season. So I think in perpetuity here, a lot of these games down the stretch of seasons are going to be a lot more interesting than some others. But some big games here. Purdue's got to prove it. Purdue has been wonderful since the new year. Purdue has only lost once. Purdue's 10-1, 11-1 since the new year. It's been excellent. Since the new year, it's number 2 in the country on Bart Torvik. If you just factor in the data since the new year, this is Purdue playing really, really well. And now it's going to get the chance to prove it. Because as I sit here and I look at the KenPom rankings of the teams Purdue's played, Michigan's the best team it's faced, who's 20th in KenPom. Wisconsin's 12th. Michigan State's 17th. Illinois is 14th. You go on the road to number 20. Going to Indiana's never easy. UCLA comes to town. These are a lot of your toughest games so far. 6 of these last 7 are quad 1 opportunities, with Rutgers being the lone exception. So it's going to be big here. This is going to be the stretch that defines the regular season. So we'll see what Purdue can do. As I said, not going to be able to record this weekend, so we'll be back after that Purdue-Michigan State. Things are going to look a lot different in the Big Ten landscape at that point, because Michigan State and Michigan, they will not have played yet, but Michigan State will have gone to Illinois as well. Michigan will have gone to Ohio State. There are a lot of big games left, man. This is the interesting part. I mean, Michigan still has to go to Michigan State. Michigan State still has to go to Michigan. Maryland plays both of these teams, and Maryland's been playing some good ball. The Big Ten race is just getting started, so it'll be interesting to follow along. Until next time, guys, enjoy these games, take care, and we will talk soon.